The Rock makes a surprise unannounced appearance last night on Monday Night Raw in Chicago, Illinois. The final boss seemingly confronted Cody Rhodes in the ring and whispered something in his ear before leaving. However, later on in the show, he attacked the American Nightmare backstage, brutally threw him out into the parking lot in the rain, and bloodied the challenger for Roman Reigns' undisputed WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania. The Rhodes family has since responded. We'll let you know all about that. CM Punk returned to Raw in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois last night. Referenced Vince McMahon, Jim Cornette, faced off with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, and announced he'll be on commentary for the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania between McIntyre and Rollins. Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch faced off last night on Monday Night Raw ahead of their Women's World title match at WrestleMania. Wheeler Yuta has been pulled from the upcoming CMLL match at Arena Mexico due to not being medically cleared. An ECW project reportedly is in the works with WWE. Speaking of ECW, Paul Heyman has directed and executive produced Roman Reigns' upcoming documentary on A&E. An update on Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. Are they both going to the main roster? An update on Ivar after his match on Raw last night was pulled due to him not being medically cleared to compete. Plus, we have the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown on Fox. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about the shocking conclusion to last night's edition of Monday Night Raw from Chicago, Illinois. And I guess we have to go to the beginning of the show to talk about the end of the show, because kicking off last night's episode of Raw, Cody Rhodes was in the middle of an in-ring promo when The Rock made a surprise appearance, coming out mere moments after the Chicago crowd had just pledged their allegiance to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. The crowd was also delighted to see the final boss. Now, while The Rock was scheduled to appear on next week's episode of Raw from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, he popped up a week early. Now, clad in a rather enormous diamond chain, sunglasses, and another Versace-esque tailored fit, The Rock was in full Hollywood mode, including his brand new entrance that he debuted a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown. Standing face-to-face in the ring with Cody Rhodes, the crowd was censored after beginning to chant "Holy shit" and later CM Punk during the stare-down. However, The Rock was without a microphone as he instead approached Cody Rhodes with his hands behind his back and got close to him to tell him something before smiling and leaving the ring. Cody Rhodes, meanwhile, was left with a, confused look on his face when the crowd booed him and began chanting "Rocky sucks" just as The Rock left. Now, Michael Cole on commentary referred to the moment as unsettling, while Cody looked less angry and more puzzled by the end of the segment. Now, in a backstage interview barely after the commercial break, when The Rock was asked what he said to Cody, he simply said to ask Cody and walked away. However, I guess we kind of found out possibly what The Rock said to him as the show went on, because The Rock unleashed a violent beatdown of the American Nightmare. Yes, because on Monday's edition of Raw, WrestleMania 40 opponents Cody Rhodes and Dwayne The Rock Johnson closed out the show with a bloody spectacle. The final moments of the show saw Rhodes' clothes soaked with rain and his face soaked with blood, while The Rock made progress on his promise to deliver Rhodes' mother a weightlifting bout baptized in her son's blood. Now, the chaos began to unravel during the show's main event when Jey Uso took on Shinsuke Nakamura. Late in the match, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa appeared, snaking through the Chicago crowd towards the ring. Their presence drew the attention of Rhodes and World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins. Rhodes handled Jimmy, taking the fight backstage, while Rollins had Sikoa's number before being incapacitated by a Future Shock DDT courtesy of a rogue Drew McIntyre. The cameras followed Rhodes into the backstage area where he continued his lone assault on Jimmy. Suddenly, that's when The Rock got involved, taking advantage of Jimmy's distraction to beat Rhodes within an inch of his life. Johnson assaulted Rhodes with toolboxes, trash cans, and old-fashioned fists. The one-sided brawl eventually broke out into the rainy Chicago night, when The Rock began to beat Rhodes to the wet asphalt. Metal reverberated as The Rock tossed Rhodes into his own sponsored truck several times. Johnson then taunted the Cody Cryberry throughout the entire beatdown, openly pondering whether the beaten and bruised Rhodes was their hero. After one too many tosses into the truck, blood began gushing from Rhodes' forehead into his eyes, hair, and ears. The Rock took advantage of Rhodes' bloody state to retrieve a weightlifting belt with Mama Rhodes imprinted onto it. Johnson then statistically took the blood from Rhodes' face and wiped it onto the weightlifting belt, reminding the crowd in attendance. He actually said this not to F with the final boss. Of course, the F word was censored, as The Rock's language was heavily censored throughout this segment when he was about talking shit and all this kind of stuff. It certainly was an incredibly violent and incredible spectacle to end the show. Now, the Rhodes family has since responded to this, two members of it. First, Cody Rhodes' brother, Dustin Rhodes, of course, AEW star Dustin Rhodes, has tweeted out, quote, "You son of a bitch." Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes' wife, Brandy Rhodes, tweeted out the following. She said, quote, "He better keep his security detail tight at Mania. That's all." So, what did you make of this segment? What did you make of the blood? What did you make of The Rock's language? Let me know your thoughts, reaction to all of it. Is the best thing in wrestling right now the final boss? Does it make you worried about Rhodes versus Reigns at WrestleMania, as really the focus at the moment appears to be Rhodes versus The Rock? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Now, CM Punk also appeared on Monday Night Raw last night in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois, and he had a lot to say as well. CM Punk made an appearance on last night's Raw that ended up including a reference to not only Jim Cornette, but also Vince McMahon. CM Punk first greeted his hometown of Chicago, addressing several different, people and adversaries, specifically noting that he saw Roman Reigns was on the Pat McAfee show. He made note that he wasn't a daily listener of the show. He did say, however, quote, "He listens to the experience and the drive-through," seemingly in reference to Jim Cornette's podcast, then pivoting back to what Reigns said about him on McAfee's show. He said that he expected their paths to cross at some point, likely as Reigns was coming down and Punk was on the way up. Summoning Drew McIntyre, he immediately appeared and the pair went back and forth on the microphone. While McIntyre apologized for wearing his Savior of WrestleMania shirt, he got a zinger from Punk in the middle of it. As he was pulling off the first shirt to reveal yet another CM Punk-themed joke shirt, CM Punk interrupted that he never had to put another man's name on his shirt to sell it. The pair would go on to have a back-and-forth exchange where Punk continued to try and get McIntyre into the ring, but instead, McIntyre sat down on top of the commentary desk, kind of similar to a younger CM Punk back in 2012. A McIntyre reference previously being the chosen one, Punk was primed to not let him off the hook for dropping a Vince McMahon reference. Interrupting, Punk asked, quote, "Who chose you? Who chose you? What was his name? You've got the balls to say you're the chosen one? Tell me, what was his name?" Now, of course, previously, McIntyre had been considered the chosen one in his early career, having been hand-selected by Vince McMahon, who has since departed WWE and TKO Group Holdings amid a multitude of sexual misconduct allegations. The World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins also appeared, and ultimately, the segment hosted the announcement that CM Punk will be on commentary for Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So, as CM Punk mentioned previously, you can't have WrestleMania in Philadelphia without Phil. Phil Brooks is going to be there in Philadelphia for the WrestleMania World Heavyweight Championship match. What did you make of this segment? What did you make of Punk's references to not only Jim Cornette, Vince McMahon? He also made some pretty, risky references, referring to his wife and not being on Netflix, but he said his mouth still works. April, you know what that means. He also said he couldn't be a referee because he couldn't be impartial with these two dipshits. What did you make of the segment? Let me know your thoughts and reaction in the comment section below. Now, Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley also faced off last night on Monday Night Raw. Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley's upcoming match for the WWE Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 40 has been full of tense stare-downs, but not many physical altercations. That changed Monday night on Raw when a heated conversation between the challenger and champion exploded into a full-on brawl. Ripley took to the microphone first to taunt her WrestleMania opponent. Ripley commented on the lack of attention she's been receiving from Lynch and referred to herself as respectful for not actively seeking the man out after her matches. Ripley then offered the microphone to Dominic Mysterio, who was barely able to finish Lynch's name before Lynch herself came out. Lynch mentioned Ripley's general in-ring inactivity and cited it as the reason she's not been able to confront the champion. Ripley dismissed Lynch's concerns and claimed that she only needed to post on social media to get the attention Lynch would otherwise have to turn to matches for. Lynch outlined the differences in their definitions of champions, with Ripley's being mainly superficial and Lynch's being the result of hard work. Tensions flared further when Ripley invoked Lynch's daughter after comparing Lynch to a cockroach, hard to kill but not impossible. Ripley expressed a desire to leave Lynch just alive enough for her to watch her daughter call Ripley Mommy, a play on Mammy. Enraged and emotional, Lynch noted that while her father, who passed away in March 2021, never met her daughter, he would be proud of Lynch's parenting. She denounced Ripley's alleged respectfulness, and things became unglued shortly thereafter. Lynch struck first not at Ripley but actually Mysterio. This aggravated Ripley, who began an all-out assault against Lynch. Mysterio and Ripley attempted to leave the ring, but Lynch jumped off the steel steps to pummel both Mysterio and Ripley to the ground. The two women brawled up the ramp until they were separated by WWE officials and Mysterio himself. Now, Lynch and Ripley are expected to clash at WrestleMania 40 for the Women's World Championship. Lynch secured her WrestleMania opportunity after winning her first match in the Elimination Chamber back in February. As of this recording, Ripley has held the Women's World Championship for 357 days after winning the title against Charlotte Flair last year at WrestleMania. Now, some news when it comes to AEW, and one star that's been pulled from a big upcoming cross-promotional bout. Now, the partnership between AEW and CMLL has been one of the biggest talking points for both companies since the turn of the new year. Beginning in October of last year, AEW and CMLL agreed to enter into a working relationship that has seen some of Mexico's most popular luchadors amaze audiences all over the United States. Likewise, on March 29, stars from AEW will get the chance to impress the fans south of the border as they travel to Arena Mexico for a CMLL event. But one wrestler will unfortunately not be making the trip. In a statement released by CMLL, AEW announced that Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club has not been cleared to compete or travel and will miss the event. Now, Yuta has been out of action since January due to injury, and both companies had hoped he would be back in time for the March 29 event, but those hopes were ultimately in vain. Rather than make the Blackpool Combat Club's planned 8-man tag team match a 6-man, however, a replacement has been found in the form of AEW star Matt Sydal. Now, Sydal has faced a number of CMLL stars in AEW this year, meaning he shares common ground with his upcoming partners Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, and Claudio Castagnoli. They will take on the all-star team of Mystico, Volador Jr., Ultimo Guerrero, and Blue Panther, while fellow AEW star Willow Nightingale will also make her CMLL debut in a 6-woman tag team match earlier on in the evening as well. So Wheeler Yuta is out of that match. Now, this WrestleMania is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WrestleMania 40, of course, that being the birthplace, the home of Extreme Championship Wrestling. So are we going to be getting some ECW projects? It certainly looks like it. There's something extreme in the air as of late, especially in the lead up to WrestleMania 40, which will take place in Philadelphia, original home of the long-defunct Extreme Championship Wrestling. Despite being dead for twice as long as it actually existed, fans still celebrate ECW, and it seems WWE is leaning into that nostalgia with an upcoming project. According to PW Insider, early work has been done on an ECW episode for the Biography WWE Legends show that airs on the A&E network. The report claims that a number of stars have been contacted about doing interviews for the episode, but nothing has been officially confirmed at the time of recording. What has been confirmed is that the episode will not air in the current season, as all those episodes have been completed and are ready to air. ECW has a number of memorable rivalries such an episode could focus on, from Tommy Dreamer's lengthy feud with Raven to Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn raising the bar over the ECW Television Championship, to the company actually working creatively with WWE in 1997. PW Insider also confirmed that there is a private ECW-themed event set for WrestleMania weekend at the legendary ECW Arena, now known as the 2300 Arena. The event will take place on Sunday, April 7, and will only be attended by people who have purchased premium prices for on-location packages. On Location is a concierge owned by Endeavor, and the people who have purchased the correct packages will get the chance to attend meet and greets with ECW legends of the past, as well as getting a closer look at some ECW artifacts from the company's glory years. If we get any more details on that in the future, of course, we'll let you know. Now, someone I guess so tied with ECW's past is Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman is going to be, or has directed and executive produced, an upcoming Roman Reigns documentary. WWE Hall of Famer, or future Hall of Famer, is going to be inducted over WrestleMania weekend. Paul Heyman is set to direct and executive produce a documentary on undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Since returning to WWE in August 2020, Roman Reigns has been aligned with the wise man Paul Heyman. Their partnership has been at the forefront of some of the most important stories told in the company since then. On March 25, the company announced that the latest edition of WWE biography, Legends, will be centered on the tribal chief Roman Reigns. The documentary will be directed and executive produced by Paul Heyman and will premiere on A&E on Sunday, March 31st. So Paul Heyman heavily involved in that. Now, an update on Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, because WWE has big plans for two NXT superstars. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams have been paired together for the majority of their runs in NXT, with Hayes recently turning on Trick after previously attacking him backstage. Now the pair are set to face off at NXT Stand and Deliver on WrestleMania weekend. Now, according to Fightful Select, multiple sources in NXT have told Corey Brennan of Fightful Select that the current plan is for Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes match at Stand and Deliver to main event the show. While it has not been locked in and the main event still could go to Ilya Dragunov and Tony D'Angelo, officials are pushing for the heated storyline to get the spotlight. One official who has been very hands-on with the storyline is Shawn Michaels, who has helped plan and map out the storyline along with Carmelo and Williams. Michaels has been a long supporter of Hayes. Now, many have asked about the status of both men's call-ups to the main roster. One source told Fightful Select that Carmelo has been set for his main roster call-up since prior to the Royal Rumble and is expected to move up to the main roster full-time in the summer. With regards to Trick Williams, officials took notice of the reaction that Williams got in his surprise SmackDown appearance back in January. There have been pitches for the pair to continue their rivalry on the main roster after Stand and Deliver, but Williams' plans for past the Premium Live event remain unclear. We get any more details on that, of course, we'll let you know in the future. Now, a bit of an update on Ivar after Ivar was pulled from last night's Monday Night Raw. As I mentioned, Ivar was scheduled to face Andrade on last night's episode of Raw, but that didn't happen. Raw General Manager Adam Pearce announced that Ivar was medically unable to compete last night and was out of his match against Andrade. In his place, it was Giovanni Vinci filling in for him. Now, Fightful say they asked about Ivar's status and they were told that he's fine and is expecting to be back in the ring in very quick fashion. They weren't told specifically what's keeping him out of the ring right now, but he will be back very, very soon. And finally, we have the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown on Fox, and surprisingly, it's not great numbers. The viewership figure and demo rating for Friday's edition of SmackDown on Fox has been revealed. Per WrestleNomics, SmackDown drew 2.235 million viewers, which is down from the March 15 edition that drew 2.340 million viewers. Now, in the 18 to 49 demographic, Friday's show scored a 0.61 rating. This is also down from the week prior that scored a 0.68 rating. This is the lowest total viewership and demo rating for the show since December 29, 2023. Now, in terms of the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics, so shout out to them and be sure to subscribe to their Patreon service. The show featured Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns going face-to-face ahead of their showdown at WrestleMania 40. Also, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory defeated the OC, while the Street Profits defeated the AOP, the Authors of Pain, for Waller and Theory, as well as the Street Profits to advance to the qualifying match to determine who moves on to the WrestleMania 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed tag team titles. Meanwhile, Io Sky defeated Naomi. Post-match, Damage Control attacked both Naomi and Bianca Belair. But there you go, guys. This is the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or coming across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.